Hi, this is Roberta Williams. I'm Ken.
Yeah. Nope. No, not at all.
Hi, Roberta. I
Except
think
for,
I saw you
except
on the
for
cover of a
tens of
game.
millions of dollars. There's very little difference.
Hi there, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello. We got a full house.
So yes, in reality, that's Lori Cole, and I'm Corey Cole, and we are collectively known as the Coles on Wikipedia.
Awesome. And
Hello.
the Coles are going to
Hello,
show off
Lori.
their game that's coming up. They're going to play a little bit. Now, we have Linthal. Is it Linthal?
Yeah. Thought.
And apparently he's hanging out with Larry in the Love for Sale game.
Yep.
Also, we have Anna and Roberta, who's going to help showcase the game and take it from here. In fact, I'm actually going to use this opportunity to take a little break and watch from afar.
Go to the bathroom. Do your thing.
You all have a nice break.
I'll be right back. You guys have an awesome time.
Look, folks, tell them.
Bye.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
You're well.
Yeah, we're
Yay.
doing fine. We come out with a new game.
Yeah. How's that? Why don't you guys update us a little bit on what's going on with everything with Summer Days and everything else?
We probably should first have the introduction that we're the authors of Quest for Glory back in the 90s, and we got back into making adventure games with Throw You Road to Redemption in 2012, which was released in 2018, and then Being Fool started immediately on a smaller game, which is called Summer Days Tilly's Tale, and that's all Lori's projects. Why don't you talk about it?
Okay. Yeah. Basically, what we wanted to do, Road to Redemption was a massive game. It had everything that we ever wanted to put in a game. It had role playing, it had puzzle solving, it had character development, and
thanks to the internet, still does.
And still does, yeah. So if you liked the Quest for Glory games, you would like Road to Redemption. But it's such a massive game, and you can play it forever and ever and ever. We decided to make something smaller and more distilled for our next set of games. And so we decided to do the Summer Days series. And this is a
visual novel.
Interactive visual novel, because it isn't just a straight visual novel. It has, replayability, and it has choices of which direction you want to go. And it's just, it's distilled adventure without the puzzle solving problems and the things that give you headaches.
Well, I think of it as an adventure game without the little characters walking around. Yeah. You go directly to the action in every scene. So it's really a distilled adventure game. That's
what I figure it is. All the characters, all the interaction, and all the fun of story. So,
and it has, I hear it has voice acting.
It does have voice acting.
Yes. Dave Gilbert of Wajidai, who was just on in the previous hour, directed our voices for us. And we said, oh, cool, yeah, we got someone to direct our voices for it, so we don't have to do it. And we neglected the fact that Sierra had an entire staff of audio techs working there, and so it took us a year to break out all the voices and get them into the game. So, we said, okay, voices are done. No, they're barely begun. But they're done now.
In a game that you've tried to do by yourself, you discover it's 3 times the job you thought it was.
Yeah, Pareto principle says that 20% of the project takes 80% of the time, and 20% of your or 80% of your sales come from 20% of your customers, and we figure that basically every 10% of the game takes 90% of the scheduled time, and that's why games come in taking 9 times as long as they're supposed to.
I'll tell you, Hero U is a game, one of the first games I'd played in years that had me up really, really early in the morning so that everybody was still asleep and I could just play it and enjoy it and experience it, like the excitement that it was building up, because I'd waited so long since the Quest for Glory series to dive back into any world that you two had created I still feel it, right? It's become part of my yearly play-through series along with the Quest for Glory series, and Summer Games is another, the art.
The scary thing of getting up early to play a game just is.
I know.
Well, for Lori getting up early, well, actually, these days she actually does get up at a reasonable hour in the morning. I randomly vary between 6:30 in the morning and 10:30 in the morning, so nobody can tell whether I'm a morning person or a night person.
Keep them guessing.
Yes, but yeah, I get these things. When developing games, you go to have trouble getting to sleep at night, worrying about some problems you're trying to solve in development, and a lot of times, wake up and suddenly it's like, aha, that's it, and start fresh. Sid Meier said that was his entire process, is that every morning he would wake up, full of new ideas and build them all into the game, and then spend the entire afternoon with him and other people playtesting them and taking notes on it, and just basically, fixing things in the evening, and the next morning he'd put in all the new stuff again. So, yeah, it's just every day an adventure.
That's certainly true with our lives. Yes.
You give us adventures every day. So much of my personality, like I'll forget until I play through the Quest for Glory series, how many of the references, the people I like, why was I into Groucho Marx? Why did I understand these references that weren't necessarily of my time? And because, your game was so important to me and I had to play it so many times to play with each character in each different way, it just became a huge part of my personality, and it still is. And I'm so happy about that.
That and the puns.
Yeah, we had references before our time too. We wanted to have these games just to be, a kaleidoscope of fun things and encounters and things to do. And so, so we did pull, from the, references from the past that we just knew, but didn't, before our time.
Yeah, we may be old, but we're not so old that we actually watched Groucho Marx and You Bet Your Life live.
Actually,
I have a question. What's since we're talking about references, what is some your favorites that you guys have put into your games?
Arnie the Aardvark.
Oh yeah, our references went everywhere. So yes, part of it was in the early game, the first game we did, our artist Jerry Moore loved to do different things. So he put a little bit of Star Trek references into the game, and he put. I'm
told there's a Starship Enterprise in every single Sierra game that Jerry worked on.
I don't, didn't try to track them all down, but he certainly did in our games, and so therefore. Because I think the most important thing about the games were that we had a team working together who really wanted to work together. And so we incorporated what the team was doing, and what they were excited about. We adapted those things to make them part of the game.
Yeah, so at the end of Hero's Quest, when you're in a treasure room in the Brigand's lair, Laurie said, well, just, put in anything that, might be a cool treasure that the Brigands have stolen. And one of the things that Jerry put in there was the Blackbird, the Falcon.
The Maltese
Falcon. And at that point, Laurie said, okay, well, obviously that has a reason for being there, so why is that? And then in the next game, she made it a plot element.
Yeah, so it was a plot element through the whole series, just because the artist happened to put in that little, throwaway image. Plus, we put in references to other Sierra games because, it kind of like a tribute to other games.
It was kind of traditional. The Moon Pad was in like 3 or 4 different Sierra games.
That seems a tradition for a lot of the Sierra games, and probably some of our favorite Easter eggs, in fact, is seeing another Sierra game in a Sierra game. It's very meta.
It really is meta, but it also there was such loyalty to Sierra at the beginning, where everybody played all of the Sierra games, and the fans played everything, and so we really wanted to, keep that family of references and things that everybody would recognize, as well as add all the other references that we knew.
People don't remember it now, but at the time, Hero's Quest was an enormous risk for Sierra. Sierra was known as the Adventure Game Company, and there were graphic adventure games and there were role-playing games, and the two were oil and water. They did not mix, and people thought that role-playing gamers would never touch an adventure game, and adventure gamers hated role-playing games. So we dared to bring the two together into one game, and found out that the adventure gamers loved it, and a lot of the role-playing gamers came over to Sierra, and they were very happy with us about that.
Some of us grew up loving all different kinds of games too, and having the combination was so unique. Because we grew up, playing D&D as well, and obviously adventure games, and then having the sudden combination of the two was just like, oh, it's so it was just very magical that you created that for us.
My mom was starting to draw a castle recently. We like to do family art classes just for fun together, and she couldn't figure out where to go with it. And I showed her a picture of Erasmus's castle, and in the first one, all, kind of like that lovely, bright, shiny pink and purpley color. And she said, that's it. That's what I've been trying to draw. So she drew that and put it into her picture, and we sent the card to Julia Minamata, who does the Crimson Diamond game. And now she's got that displayed at her house. So you're influencing people every day for some reason or another.
So sweet. That was actually the first Erasmus's house at the top of the hill for the first game was actually modeled against a children's book, which was all about this wonderful Victorian house that had all these animals living in it, a crocodile and everything else. And I loved the book, but I loved the art style more. So I brought in the book and basically said, look, this is a Victorian house that I would love to see, for Erasmus. And we went with that. So yeah, a lot of the references for the art, I went out of my way to pick up things that I loved and brought in so that we went that way. And of course, that first stupid street in Spielberg, in Spielberg, when you walk into the street, I drew that picture originally, and then they just really, made it look just like my picture, which was not a good idea.
That's not what we wanted.
Oh, no.
Something a little better than my level of art for it.
What was who was your favorite artist to work with?
Terry Moore probably wins hands down. Mark Hutchins was
awesome.
But Terry Moore was just so creative and crazy. He really was the eccentric kind of artist, like and he was just fun to be with. So I was really sorry that we didn't get to work with him more.
And I love the work that Andy Hoyos did. And he really made Castle Dr. Brain. Originally I had John Bach doing the preliminary the version to sell the game to Sierra Management. We did a little prototype of it. They said, okay, this game looks like it could work, but let's get another artist in. And, John's good, but they brought in Andy Hoyos, and he just, I said we want this to be a crazy, wacky castle, and he came up with the idea that all the hallways would be curved and more organic instead of square, and the insane outside of the castle. And it's like, okay, I can say, give me something crazy, but I can't actually draw it to show them. They have to come up with it. And,
but then, of course, our favorite author is J.P. Selwood, who we're working with now.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Why don't we talk more about JP now? That's a good segue.
We go right into Road to Redemption, where he was he wound up being the lead designer for all the room designs and things like that.
Show that.
You could see if you can do that and show something, but he did all these wonderful backgrounds, elaborate, backgrounds, and we eventually actually found a way to translate it into 3D. So he's a 2D artist at the time specifically, and he did all these background paintings, but then we actually got it to be, are you going to show that screen?
I'm going to attempt to show that screen.
Well.
Oh, actually, applications, Hero U? Oh, I can just do that.
Okay, did that work?
Let's see. Do you see Hero U Road to Redemption up on the screen?
Yeah,
there it is, up in the corner.
Yeah, we're going to need to get Josh to click on his watch stream here, I think.
Well, I'm there in the top left corner. It says a screen. Your stream is still running.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. That may have broken it.
Well, we'll see. Are we still running?
Let's try.
Yeah, we're still running.
Okay, fine.
There. Does that work? Can you see it?
Oh, I don't know if you guys can see this game at all.
Yep, I'm seeing it.
All right.
Okay, cool.
This is our game, Road to Redemption, which has references all over the place, too. including a reference to 2 characters from Quest for Glory.
It's a statue of a fairy woman.
And
You examine it, it says, something about being near the statue makes you feel calm and happy. The base of the statue says,
Irana, she shared joy with the world and made it a safer place for all of us. So that was a reference to a character that was in the Quest for Glory.
a character that was mentioned. She was not actually in the first game. Well, later on, she was a character.
In the last game, she actually became one. But so yes, the backgrounds in this were all designed by JP, and we turned them into a 3D world. But they're all elaborate backgrounds, unlike what we could do with Quest for Glory. They're huge. Every room is huge. You can play this game forever and not get all the references or not see everything in this game, I swear.
Yeah, one of the things I always wanted to do with a game like Quest for Glory was just to be able to turn around and look at the entire room. And we still don't have that. We have a fixed angle camera, but you can now run around a room that is much larger than one screen. And Sierra, you were the proscenium stage. Every screen was a scene.
You just gotta jump in that they're apparently not seeing the stream over on YouTube there. So.
Oh well.
That's not okay.
Are you kidding me?
We won't show it.
Well, then I'll turn that off.
They're working on. We have top men on the task right now.
So this entire stream has not been on the YouTube?
The stream has been on.
not.
It just hasn't been streaming the game.
Yeah, just from here you.
Okay, well, I will stop streaming the game. But anyway, the whole idea of the thing is that JP is just a very talented artist that we got introduced to Eric Farnes and JP Selwood from Eric Chang, who helped us with the Kickstarter we did. And just, these guys came in and they just immediately became superstars.
Yeah.
And JP's art just keeps getting better and better as we go along.
Yeah. So he is the lead artist for, again, Summer Daze.
Yes.
Tilly's Tale.
Tilly's Tale, yeah.
Yeah, Lori wanted to make it Summer Daze at Hero U, and we called it that for a while. And originally it was going to be 2 games in one with Tilly and with the Feo. And we quickly discovered that project got out of hand as usual, and that one part of that was a full game. So we have Summer Daze Tilly's Tale, and we're going to come up with Summer Daze of Feo's Adventure in a year or 2, followed by Summer Daze Sammy's Story. And Sammy is a humanoid corgi. So everybody loves corgis.
Corgis.
Well then, so I need to know, how has game development changed? You've been developing games for such a span of time. I'm assuming outside of the programming and the systems used, there must be so many other differences, even just how you communicate with the staff that you work with.
Yes, well, Sierra, everybody,
Every year.
Yes, every year it was a different adventure, but we had all these things at our hands. We had the artists, we had, a programming team. We had all these things that we could count on and a system that we knew would work. And being on our own, well, we've had to reinvent everything. We had to find these people to work. We have had lots of people volunteer to help us, and we're really thrilled with all the volunteers. But it's a great experiment for every game.
One of the fortunate things for us at Sierra was that we didn't actually start out making Heroes Quest at Sierra. I came in the year before, and my job was to convert Sierra's SCI interpreter and game system to the Atari ST. And that means that by the time we started Heroes Quest, I'd worked in the internals. I wrote a lot of the assembly language code for SCI. So I knew the language inside and out, and was able to say, okay, here's what we can do and what we can't do for Heroes Quest. Because what Ken originally wanted, there's a nice
Anubis picture.
there. What Ken Williams originally, said he wanted was a game like Ultima. And we said, Ultima, these primitive little characters walking around and so on, these huge map backgrounds, SCI isn't suited for that. But what SCI is suited for is really immersing players in a story. And so we came up with a hybrid game that was part adventure game and part role-playing. So fast forward to Hero U, and everybody told us how wonderful Unity was. And we said, oh, great, we'll do this in Unity. And
but we want to make it look like
a serious game.
Quest for Glory, a nice proscenium stage 2D game. And sadly enough, it doesn't look anything like that in the end after 7 years or how many years of production.
Well, our first year of development was all 2D, and the team had to create 2D add-ons to Unity, and later on Unity added that, but
didn't
at the time we didn't have it.
So
and we got the game to run, and we said, this doesn't look as good as we want it to.
Yes. Just like every year at Sierra, where we reinvented the wheel, every year at Road to Redemption, we reinvented what we were doing. And you just have to really be prepared to change and adapt to whatever the circumstances are.
So roll the punches. Every game is different. Every development environment is different.
And how have you found that to be with moving into the visual novel type of domain? What are kind of the benefits or the challenges of pivoting the game that way?
It has a lot of advantages, i.e. we are not fighting an animation system that wasn't designed to do what we were doing. And it's as we said, it's a condensed version of how to do a game. It's very simple. It's all, dialogue driven, which is one of my specialties. And so you would think it would be something we could just get out like that. But honestly, most of the games that are out there that do visual novels do not make them highly interactive. They kind of always, go to the same thing. You play it, and no matter what even if you have any choices, you wind up following the same path the same way. And once you add interaction into it and you add choices, you suddenly have all these problems that you can come up with, and you try to avoid the dead ends, and you have to actually think about the ramifications of everything you do, and it's much more difficult to create a game like that.
So our original plan for Hero U Road to Redemption, we did the Kickstarter in November of 2012, October to November, and then started the game beginning of 2013, and we said this will take us 2 years. So it should have been ready at the beginning of 2015, and we discovered those 2 years turned into 5.5 years, and just with all the complications, having to redo all the art multiple times, turnover on the team, we went, so we had an average of 12 people, but anyway, it took time. But original plan was 2 years for the first game, and then we would do a sequel every year with the technology we developed. And so after 5 years of the first game, we said we can't do another game that takes us 5 years. So we said we'll do a game to do in 1 year. And that was started in late 2018, and here it is late 2022, and it's just about finished.
The best laid plans of mice and men, right?
Indeed.
It happens. I feel like we're always having to do COVID math now too, so
Yes, yeah. The COVID affected it, and all sorts of things affected it. But the real thing was trying to get it to the quality that we want it to be.
Absolutely. And we're going to be looking at it.
After that, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Roberta.
Oh, I just was saying, and we're going to be looking at a latest of the game in a little bit here, but we'll keep interviewing a little bit longer. But just to let everybody know, we will get to look at a new updated with voice acting and everything version. So it'll be really cool.
Well,
let's music.
See that. I'd like to see it, and then we can finish up with some more interviews or some more questions after that. I want to make sure that gets in.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Do we have Matt back in because he had figured out how to show it off?
Did we lose Matt?
He's just in staging.
Well, you guys keep asking your questions. I'll try to get a hold of him and see if he can come back.
Steve, we haven't heard from you. Is there anything you'd like to ask while we have the polls in?
Well, it was more of just a commentary. I've never been particularly able to get into CRPGs until Quest for Glory. It's just, for me, well, I mean, as you pointed out with like Ultima, it's little stick figures on a big background, and I'm much more of a visual person, and having the Sierra style, as it were, really helps pull me into the story. And
mostly why we became game designers was because we were frustrated with the games we were playing. They didn't have the kind of storytelling we wanted to do, you know.
Although it was also because we loved games like Dungeon Master.
Yeah.
That did an amazing job, and we made it into an immersive game by imparting, attributes onto all the characters in the game that weren't actually part of the game, but we told our own stories about them and what their favorite foods were and stuff like that.
Well,
interesting.
Food and food plays a big part in the game, as it does. Lori, is there a reason why?
Well.
That's a teaser.
Yeah, I know it is a teaser, but because everybody loves food.
That's the rumor.
It's also because Lori is too modest about this, but she is an outstanding chef. In fact, she was invited to be the sous chef at a high-end restaurant in Oakhurst over there, and no thanks. I don't want to be on my feet all day.
I just want to build briefly on your comment.
That would have been an interesting career choice.
Certainly. Is it funny to me that you guys created games because you couldn't find the games that you wanted to play, and a lot of people now are creating games because they can't find the games that they used to play?
Interesting.
That's a good question.
So look at that. We got some game up now.
Yeah.
Yes, good.
Take us for a little stroll on Summer Daze, Tilly's Tale.
Okay.
Ooh, story time.
Oh, there we go.
This
is that showing?
Full
screen. Oh, cool.
Okay, bring up music. Oh, yeah.
University.
Yes.
It's where I go.
So let's just click new on that and get into the opening part of the game. And you'll see what we spent the last 2 years of development on.
Yeah.
We
don't have
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, click the new button to start the game.
Very deep below the castle is the
distant
Bard's classroom.
There we go.
There's no voice.
No.
Oh, I'm unsilenced.
That's the polite
A different
public
stuff. You don't want to
title of a
unsilence.
Rhodes
Yeah, here. Yeah. Click. Yeah.
Okay. Seems some way.
Yes.
A rogue is a kind of do-gooder thief with a conscience. At least in theory. But we're not supposed to talk about that. So there I was, doodling in my handbook, just waiting for class to be over.
See if you could turn the voices up just a hair.
Fräulein Appleberry.
It can be if you go in the menu.
Huh? What?
Okay.
I wish to speak to you after class.
Uh-oh. That can't be good. That's my instructor, Master von Erwald.
I love the voices.
Yeah, they're really good.
If you don't mind an authoritarian, don't mess with him kind of guy. You wanted to see me, sir?
Ja, Fräulein.
Yeah, it's already all the way up.
Concerns a minor incident at the head.
Okay, well anyway, that's the introduction. Let's get Gerhard in there. He'll come in a second. There we go.
Reporting a bug.
That's a little introduction to what the game looks like. So maybe we can stop that and we'll get back into chattering about it.
I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, beautiful. I love the pastel colors.
It's a lovely game. We went bright. We went cheerful. Yeah, and while it looks like a kid's game, there's a lot to it. And it has the advantage of you can play. It is not an adult game. I mean, you can play it with your kids. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about that is you can read aloud those words with those dialogues. So if you're not an English speaker, I know that we had a lot of people that learned to, speak English and things from the games. Well, this game will help you with that too.
Yeah, so this is actually, Lori was partly inspired on this by games like My Magical Diary and Long Live the Queen and Dream Daddy. But Dream Daddy is, marketed as an adult game. It's got, gay romance themes and so on, which is awesome. But we wanted to basically make a game that, is for all ages, all audiences. When Lori talks romance, it isn't about sex. It's about love. It's about friendship, and so we have a feel good game there, and that's kind of what Summer Days is all about.
Yeah, with a fun character. My thought initially was, you've got these manic pixie dream girl themes of the girl that you never get. This is, you get to actually play a manic pixie dream girl who is just a charming wild pixie character who just gets into a lot of trouble from what she's doing, and you get to try and keep her out of it.
And set at the Hero University, same thing as Hero You Road Redemption. So it's a fantasy environment. One of the other characters you meet is a Minotaur paladin woman named Muella, inspired by one of my World of Warcraft characters. So they're all crazy characters. Kitty Hawk's daughter is name was inspired by the lady who actually introduced us to Ken Williams and got us into Sierra, Carly Hawk's daughter. But we just like the name. And
that was a pun too.
Yes,
it's a pun.
Hawk's daughter,
Kitty Hawk.
Oh, Kitty Hawk. Yeah, she's building her own flying machine.
Yes, so therefore, yeah.
Everything plays on multiple levels.
I've got a couple questions.
It's really fun and amazing character. We have the son of Calb from Quest for Glory 3 is in there. As Calvin is the second student assistant culinary sous chef or something like that. So it's a lot of fun. That's the voice of Tilly is Zero Fuzzle, who's known for Young Justice and How I Met Your Mom, and it's just a wonderful actress that is just amazing in the game. All the voice actors, we got many of them turned out to be Quest for Glory fans.
No surprise.
So Fuzzle is an Adventure Game fan.
And, that means that they're putting a lot of love into their voices, too, because they can't help it. It's just something they do. And so it made for a great experience, and we're really proud of this.
So we doubled the development time of the game by adding in full voice acting, and it's absolutely worth it.
It was worth it for sure.
Yeah. It's a huge upgrade to the game. So.
Joshua has a question.
I'm sorry?
You said you had your question?
Oh, yeah. We don't have a lot of time, but so I wanted to ask a couple questions from the YouTube audience. Some people want to know what your favorite Quest for Glory game was, or is, because it's not gone.
Probably 4.
It did everything we wanted to do. If you take out all the bugs, and that's what you have to do, excuse all the bugs that it had. But it was exactly, it looks good. It had great characters. It sounds great. And it just looks like it should be. And it was a story I really loved.
But I've been asked this question a number of times before, and I've said that basically I could vote for any of the games. Heroes Quest, Quest for Glory 1, because it was a new thing that we were introducing into the world. 2, because we had the Arabian Nights stories within stories and very unusual setting. 3, which I didn't work on 3, I only played it, and I loved it. And so it was, really immersive story and set in Africa, which no games at the time were. So every game has its reasons why it's could be considered the best.
And where would you put Hero U on that list?
Combat, so,
the 5 is a great combat system.
I like 4's combat, but 5 actually had real AI for the monsters, and the monsters do their own things. So you can play at any number of time, and you can't predict what's going to happen. So
scope the 3D allowed us to do a lot of things, like the sequence where the hero swims. We've never been able to do that in a previous game.
And you come forward. Road to Redemption really has all the things we wanted Sierra games to have. So
Where would you
Road
put
to
Hero
Redemption, we were
U?
originally going to do as a top-down game, and then said 0%ing, and we kept iterating on and making it better.
Yep. Yeah.
So where would you put Hero U on your list if you were to combine the games with Quest for Glory?
Hero U Road to Redemption could absolutely be the best in the series. There are improvements we can make as we could to any game. I'd love to add voices to it, but it's a gigantic script. It's much bigger than any of the other games. It's about twice the size of Quest for Glory 4 script, which John Rhys Davis famously called the CD-ROM from hell, just because he had so many lines in it. So Hero U Road
What a narrator.
Twice that size.
always say Hero U at the top, because that's still putting money in your pockets, guys. So
Yeah, we don't make anything from the previous games, but
Right.
we still love people playing our work.
well, if anybody has
And
not seen,
Summer Days Tilly's Tale is just really, really fun, and it's going to be out probably next month. It is basically ready to launch. There was a little audio problem at the end game that I said we need one more build, but as soon as I can get some publicity up for it, that's going to be up. It'll be available on Steam. Just go to the Steam store. What's it called?
Steam store.
I don't know.
that store on Steam.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, the Steam store. Look for Summer Days. DAZE.
DAZE, and tell us where they can find your streams. You guys have some very entertaining streams. We got about 1 minute.
Yeah, we stream every second Saturday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's 2 to 5 p.m., 2 to 4 p.m. our time in California. And those are on twitch.tv/Transolar Games. TranSolarGames. Transolargames.com.
and
Just Transolar Games.
talk about game design, game making, and get into detail there. But we also play games with our audience. We also have match games and things like that, and we give away prizes. And we just have a lot of fun.
So much fun.
We also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/Corey Lori Cole, CoreyLoriCole. You have to spell our names right to get there. And we have a lot of public content that's free to everyone on there.
Yeah.
Subscribers get occasional special content, things from our old zine, the spell book, and other things. But most of it we make public because we want everybody to to share.
One time they streamed and played my game I see over in the things, Quest for Infinity. Hey,
Oh yeah.
Quest for Infinity was very much
So Blackthorn 519,
Yeah.
Stephen Alexander, I've outed you.
Yeah.
Quest for Infamy, very nice game, and inspired by Quest for Glory.
From the heart. It's a
We
good
want-
one, yeah.
We want to definitely thank you for all the years that you've given us in the adventure game industry, in the RPG industry, and the years that you're continuing to do so. We very much look forward to this new game, and we really appreciate just you taking your time and celebrating the opening of Adventure Game Hotspot.
Absolutely.
This is wonderful.
Yeah, we
I
were
have
old
one more
people,
thing that
over
I want to
30
say.
Started, and we'll still be doing this at 90, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to take a moment while we have Roberta Vaughn in here and thank her publicly. I don't know if everybody knows just how much work she put into helping this show that we're doing today, and thank you as well, and Anne as well. So,
Thank you. Thanks.
guys, you guys all have a
lot of help.
wonderful day,
Thank
and we'll see you
you.
on your streams.
Thank
See
you,
you later,
Lori,
guys.
for take care.
Thanks.
Just thank Linthal for helping us save our yearbook that was
My pleasure.
And
Thank
he also helped us get streaming. So, yay.
Yes, you did.
My pleasure. So glad I could help.
Thanks
care.
a lot, everybody.
So, on to your next guest. Thank you very much.
I
Have a good time, guys.
Have fun.
Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah, really.